Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is another declaration of truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. And today I have another after-action report on midterms 2022. Control of Congress and its two chambers still remains to decide when I'm talking to you right now. Most commentators, except those who indulge in wishful thinking, expect Republicans to capture the House. And when leftists are not indulging in wishful thinking, they are screaming about voter suppression and the isolated mule watch parties. Vigilantes who guarded a relative handful of drop boxes to stop anyone from inserting more than one ballot into the box. But no one's talking about the setup for the next crisis, the urban-rural divide. To look at a map of House districts is to put that divide into incredibly stark perspective. In fact, that map calls to mind a 10-year-old movie franchise, The Hunger Games. That's right, those Hunger Games, with Jennifer Lawrence playing the rebel when in real life she belongs in the Capitol. But I digress. The after-action report comes first. Before I deliver it, I do want to shout out to the prime sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views. Link in the description. And be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of good merchandise there, especially this t-shirt that I have chosen for today, which depicts Plato saying, "No one is more hated than he who speaks the truth." One more thing. If you like what you're about to hear, you can like this video. You can also click the bell icon to get a notice every time I come out with a new one. In fact, do you see the new icon, the heart shape with the US dollar sign in it? That's the super thanks icon. If you really want to keep these videos coming, click on that and leave me a tip. Any currency will do, especially as long as it's legal tender. Now, Politico.com has the most current big map that has a basis in established fact. I've left a link in the description, and I can assure you it does update as relevant news comes in. While I'm talking to you, it shows the Senate tied 48-48 with 4 seats races to determine. Now, 1, Alaska, is solid Republican. The only question is which Republican will take it. Incumbent Senator Lisa Murkowski or her Trump-sympathetic challenger Kelly Tshibaka. The quirky ranked choice voting system will probably give it to Murkowski. That's because Democrat Pat Chesbrough stands in 3rd place and her ballots will redistribute between those two. Kelly Tshibaka needed to win outright in the first round, and she will not, and Murkowski is too close. So unless Pat Chesbrough's voters spitefully said to themselves, the Democrat or no one, and marked only one choice, which would then exhaust their ballots after she's eliminated, Lisa Murkowski wins. If you go to my channel and search on Alaska, you'll see 2 videos I've done about Alaska politics in which I explain that ranked choice voting system as best I can. So make that 49 Republican seats and 48 Democratic seats. Democrats needed 2 more seats to return to the balance of power before midterms. 50-50 with Kamala Harris as the tiebreaker. If they come 1 seat shy of that, the score is then 51-49, and Harris might as well not attend. The seats are in Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada. In Georgia, Republican Herschel Walker and Democrat incumbent Raphael Warnock head to a runoff on December 6th. Libertarian Chase Oliver, the spoiler, won't be on the ballot. In Nevada, Republican Adam Laxalt leads by more than 15,700 votes, with 17% of the vote remaining to count. And Arizona is Arizona. In the House, Politico shows decided races breaking 209-186 for Republicans. The magic number is 218. Politico rates the remaining 40 races like this: 9 solid Democrat, 2 likely Democrat, 8 leaning Democrat, 8 toss-ups, 10 leaning Republican, and 3 likely Republican. One of those 30 likely Democratic races is the Alaska at-large race. Mary Peltola has a commanding lead, and furthermore, Nick Begich has a sizable number of voters who will mark Peltola as their second choice. They will do this first because he as much as asked them to, and second because Nick Begich comes from a Democratic dynasty, not a Republican. Ranked choice voting rears its ugly head again. If Republicans pick up all their likelies and leaners, they'll take the House with 4 seats to spare. Now, the Republican calls include an incredible pickup. Mike Lawler, Republican, taking New York's 17th district from Democrat Sean Patrick Maloney. Now, Maloney is the chairman of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, and he couldn't hold his seat. He couldn't hold it because Mike Lawler painted him as an elitist, out of touch with district residents. And in another pickup, Jen Kiggans took Virginia's 2nd district away from incumbent Democrat Elaine Luria. Now, she might not be a big wig, but she does sit on the January 6th committee. I have a link in the description to a tweet showing Jen Kiggans' picture and the full scoop on her pickup. It also says that Biden took something called the second district by 1.7% in 2020, but that was before the Supreme Court of Virginia, with the aid of 2 special masters, redrew Virginia's congressional districts for the census. Now, Luria trumpeted her January 6th investigation and swore to stand up for what's right, regardless of the political repercussions. I have a link to it in the description to a tweet on her Twitter account saying just that. Kiggans won by stressing Biden's wrecking of the economy and Luria's part in that with her floor votes. These 2 pickups best illustrate the soul of the Democratic Party: dark, authoritarian, and inexcusably elitist. Elaine Luria spent 2 years trumpeting a lie and trying to write bills of attainder and an ex post facto law against nearly half her constituents. These would be the people who voted for Trump in 2020. But a decisive portion of her neighbors swung Republican from Democrat because she did not address the wreckage of the economy. To ignore inflation and shelf after empty shelf in the stores, did she call that standing for what's right? That might play in Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez country. It did not play in Hampton Roads, Virginia. Sean Patrick Mahoney ran a worse campaign. He was the type who told people, if you drive a battery-powered electric vehicle, gasoline prices wouldn't matter to you. Said the owner of multiple mansions in and out of his district. Hey, Mahoney, why don't you pay some of the price you demand we pay? Which brings us to another big map from Politico, one showing House districts by land area. The implications of that map just staggered me when I saw it, and I knew I had to tell you about it. Before I do, I want to shout out to a sponsor who can really help you through the economic storms to come. That sponsor is oursilverlines.com. Do you feel like you're working harder for your money just to get by? You're not alone. The fluctuating economy, employment issues, and unexpected changes in life have left many families struggling over the past few years. Collecting gold and silver can help shield you against many of these challenges. But if you're like me many years ago, you don't know where or how to start. Our Silver Lines helps by connecting you with thousands of members who are learning the secrets to creating and protecting true wealth by collecting precious metals. Now, whether you just want to collect rare and unique coins or take advantage of the business opportunities that company provides, either way, they can help you learn to live an exceptional life. Visit oursilverlines.com to learn how you can build a legacy for your future. Now, back to that map from Politico. The seat map just shows colored dots in each state. The state map for the House shows the districts by land area, and it shows islands of blue and a sea of red. A handful of states, nearly all of them in the Atlantic Northeast, will be solid Democrat. Delaware lies outside of there, and so do Alaska, special case, and Hawaii. Maine and New Hampshire will likely join them, but many states are solid Republican. Those that aren't have urban Democratic districts and large tracts of rural Republican country, all of which Democratic elitism and the urban-rural divide remind me of the Hunger Games. I reviewed the Hunger Games 10 years ago for Conservative News and Views. Barack Obama was in charge then, and he was definitely the president of the city dwellers. So is Biden, and that's the one reason why Democrats still want to abolish the Electoral College. To paraphrase Hillary Clinton, they are sick and tired of having to explain to the folks on the farm why their farm produce can't sell even if it can get to market. And in unguarded moments, they actually tell rural voters to shut their mouths, or words to that effect. Well, have a look at that map of House districts. Better yet, look at a 2020 map of election results by county, courtesy of Salt Lake Community College. I have a direct link in the description to the address of the image. The only reason I don't link to a 2022 county by county map is that I don't have one. No one has drawn it yet. The only two solid Democratic states on that county map are Massachusetts and Hawaii. Oklahoma turns out to be solid Republican. The problem is, a handful of counties, and in Virginia at least independent cities, can dominate state politics, which was the exact scenario in the Hunger Games franchise. The National Anthem of Panem speaks glowingly of one capital district into which the goods from other districts flow. Change capital to cities large and speak of diamonds plural shining, and you get what might as well be the anthem of the woke North American polity, Democratic Party fashion. I've left a link in the description to a video playing the National Anthem of Panem with two kinds of lyrics, the original and some fan-made lyrics that are less important. And yes, that's going on to the end screen. Besides everything else, we still have recriminations. Many are trying to blame Donald Trump for this result, which was not what anyone expected. People expected Republicans to take the House, and they likely will, but they expected Republicans to gain a net of 50 seats, not a mere 10. And my friend Dr. Steve Turley predicts 16, but I'd like to know where he gets those. And they expected the Senate to be a 52-48 Senate, not 51-49 or a repeat of the 50-50 tie. Well, this did not happen. So we hear of people saying that Ron DeSantis, not Trump, should run for president in 2024. We hear this from Ben Dutka at the Patriot Journal and Mike Vance at Daily Political Newswire. I have links in the description to 4 tweets that Mike Vance collected, all of them saying the same thing: Trump out, DeSantis in. Now, one of them does make a good point, that DeSantis, like Glenn Youngkin in Virginia last year, ran largely on cultural issues and won. Now, Laura Loomer is not so sure about DeSantis' cultural war records. I'll get into that shortly. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, who won her district with a 31% margin, is having none of it. I have a link in the description to 2 tweets, one from her thanking people for their support, and another with video of her calling the anti-Trump recrimination a lazy, pathetic, wimpy, easy mindset. Laura Loomer isn't having any either. Regarding Governor DeSantis' record, Loomer severely questions its effectiveness. She also reminds everyone that DeSantis made his share of mistakes, some of them deadly, relating to the virus that shall remain nameless. Andrew Torba has a few words for those who ignore cultural issues. To put the matter simply, while also bowdlerizing, cultural issues matter. The issue goes further than the hedonism we saw in the first two Hunger Games movies. We now see a deliberate and calculated agenda of depopulation and deindustrialization. Not to mention bills of attainder and ex post facto laws every Democrat from the president down wanted to pass. Andrew mentioned only one of these issues relating to depopulation, and it's a powerful one. Think Dobbs versus Jackson women's, if you still can't guess. And from other quarters, people are getting some very interesting warnings. Rob Schneider, for one, has highlighted something wrong with the Hunger Games analogy. These real-life capital districts that are the big cities, they're crime-ridden. They have homeless people that the Panem authorities would sweep aside. And they have people who still care about individual rights. Schneider was a Democrat himself once, but quit when he saw the practical results. So he advises his fellow Californians, now moving out, please don't vote the same way. I have a link in the description to a tweet quoting him saying just that. His warning is worth heeding, but to be effective, it must go with a thorough moral education. Too many people don't get that theft is wrong, depopulation is wrong, and so many other parts of the Democratic program are wrong. So those who move out of blue states because their employer transferred them out do vote the same way. And some people always will, because Paul of Tarsus tells us that some people you never will be able to reach. Look up Romans chapter 8, verse 28. It clearly says that God predestines people to answer his call or not. And then remember the 1967 movie Cool Hand Luke. Remember the scene when the road gang captain, a character that Strother Martin played to perfection, captures Cool Hand Luke, whom Paul Newman played, for the umpteenth time. You remember what Strother Martin says next, quote, "What we've got here is failure to communicate. Some men you just can't reach," close quote. So, the blue states will get more blue and the red states more red. But that Hunger Games map shows that the real divide is between city dwellers and country folk. The rise of interstate secession movements shows how stark that divide has become. Will that resolve short of open warfare? Time will tell. Link in the description to the article, to the Politico.com big map, to the tweet with Jen Kiggans' picture, to the tweet by Elaine Luria with her video, to the Salt Lake City Community College 2020 county by county map, to the video with the national anthem of Panem, to the 4 tweets saying Trump out, DeSantis in, to Marjorie Taylor Greene throwing shade on that, to Rob Schneider's advice to fellow Californians moving out, to my Declarations of Truth Twitter account, and to Conservative News and Views. I've also left links to the awesome CNAV Store and to oursilverlines.com, as I also mentioned. You know already about how to like a video, turn on notifications, and leave a tip. And on the end screen, I'm going to leave a subscribe link to my channel, a link to that national anthem of Panem, and the links to the last 2 videos I've already done about midterms 2022. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free. Oh, by the way, Jennifer Lawrence, if you hear me, if I think I called you out and you think I've been unjust or mischaracterized your franchise, leave a comment. Let's talk about it.